为度化天下无边无际的有情众生，速得无上正等觉圆满佛果。请大家发广大殊胜的菩提心，以及方便广大密咒神动机，并且如理如法的谛听。
Please listen to the teaching, cultivating the two aspects of supreme motivation. The vast intention of the Mahayana Bodhicitta, the vast method of the secret mantra Vajrayana, so as able to lead all sentient beings as limitless as space to the state of the unsurpassed Buddhahood.
今天呢，我们继续讲入菩萨行论。入行论呢，一共有10品，然后10个品里面呢，我们现在呢是在讲前3品。前3品是就让我们没有菩提心的人，在我们的相续当中能够升起菩提心的这前3品。那前3品里面呢，有分成3个部分。一个呢，第一个部分主要就是第1品，主要是讲这个菩提心的功德。第2品呢是讲这个菩提心讲这个忏悔的部分。所以呢，现在我们讲的是第2品的部分。
So today I'll continue on the teaching of the Bodhisattva way of life. Within this teaching, there are 10 chapters. The first 3 chapters are designed for those of us who have not arisen Bodhicitta in our mind stream yet to arise Bodhicitta or to develop Bodhicitta. And within the first 3 chapters are also divided into 3 major parts. The first part is the qualities of the Bodhicitta, and the second part is the practice of confession.
那之前呢，在这里我们讲了怎么样发心、受持菩提心是怎么样的，这些部分我们都讲完了。现在主要是讲这个忏悔的部分。那在忏悔的部分里面呢，我们也是提到这个7支供以7支供的方式来积累资粮、忏悔业力这样。那之前呢，我们已经讲完了7支供里面的讲完了一部分了。现在接下来呢，今天这里是在讲的是什么呢？主要是讲这个皈依的部分。皈依的部分呢，分一个总义和轮义。然后呢，抉择皈依、随皈依而行持，就分了好几个部分。那今天我们主要讲的是皈依的就是轮义就是乃至菩提果，皈依诸佛陀，一依正法宝，菩萨诸圣众就是从这里开始。
So previously we have talked about the qualities of bodhicitta, including the motivation, aspiration, and bodhicitta itself. And today we'll be covering the topic of confession. And within this topic, we have talked about the 7 branch offering. We have finished some parts of teaching on the 7 branch offering. And today we'll be going into the teaching on the refuge. The refuge itself is categorized into several topics, several parts, including the topic, the meaning of the teaching, etc. And so today we'll be first talking about the refuge itself. And it begins that I go for refuge to the Buddha as far as the quintessence of enlightenment. I go for refuge to the Dharma and the community of Bodhisattvas.
首先我们要知道皈依的重点。我们所谓的皈依的重点就是我们佛教与外道的差别，主要是什么呢？佛教与外道的差别是否皈依3宝。皈依3宝的人叫做佛教徒，没有皈依3宝的人叫做外道。就是有时候我们所说的外道好像说一个很不好的，但是外道的意思并不是说是一个不好的教派，而是说佛教以外的教派叫做外道。佛教叫做内教，内道就是说我们是佛教徒这样就是内外的差别是这样的。所以我们内教佛教徒以及外道的差别主要是什么呢？主要是皈依。
So here, regarding the refuge itself, this is the thing that differentiates Buddhists and non-Buddhists, or even referred as the Tatrikas. So those who have taken refuge to the three jewels are the Buddhists. Anyone else who have not done that are considered non-Buddhists or Tatrikas. Sometimes we may correlate this term Tatrika as something that's negative, but that really just means that those who are not of the Buddhist religion or not of the non-Buddhists. So thereby here again that the main difference of those that are Buddhists and those that are non-Buddhists is whether or not they have taken refuge to the three jewels or not.
然后呢，在皈依，如果说我们要细节的讲的话，有很多很多要讲的，但是我们这里就不用那么详细的讲这个皈依，我们就是简单的介绍一下就可以了。那这里呢，我们可以就是皈依里面呢，可以分成就是基，就是基础的基基的皈依，以及果的皈依就是分成两个部分来讲。那什么叫做基的皈依呢？就是基础的皈依呢？我们对基础的皈依，就是简单的讲的话，去认知一下的话，就是说，比如说我们要承办一件事情，但是呢自己没有能力就是成就这一件事情，要依靠他人来成就这一件事情的话，这个叫做基皈依，就是说我们自己没有办法达到的这些目标呢，我们要依靠三宝的加持，我们要皈依三宝来达到就是这个就是基皈依的话，就是大致上可以这样去认知。
所以说解脱必须要依靠。
就不用说解脱，就是自己要达到一个目标，就这样可以了。
So there are actually more details to be covered in terms of taking refuge, but here we can do a brief introduction. So taking refuge itself consists of there's the basis of taking refuge. Taking refuge has its own its fundamental as well as result, or the final result. So in terms of the fundamental of the refuge is or the basis of taking refuge, to be briefly put, is that, for example, if we wish to accomplish something, but we lack the ability to do so, then we really require someone else's ability or power in order to achieve that. This is referring as to the basis or the fundamental of refuge. That if we wish to accomplish something, we have to rely on the power and the blessing of the three jewels.
然后呢，果皈依是什么呢？果皈依就是我们真正的就是证悟了佛的果位这就是果皈依，两个都是皈依，一个是基皈依，一个是果皈依。
And then the refuge
应该是这样说，果皈依的话是应该说是为了就是证悟佛的果位的那个心呢，那个动机。
And then here the result of taking refuge is the motivation to attain Buddhahood, the ultimate Buddhahood. That is what we're referring as the result of the taking refuge. So they're both taking refuge, and one is the kind of the fundamental, one is the result.
所以呢，这个就是我们所说的这里皈依大致上可以这样介绍一下。然后皈依的目的呢也有差别。皈依的目的上呢，有大乘和小乘的有差别。那小乘的皈依三宝的时候呢，是为了自己一个人解脱而皈依；大乘的时候呢，是为了天下一切有情众生而皈依。这是大乘和小乘的皈依的这个动机的差别。
So here there are also a difference regarding the goal of taking refuge. That goal difference is it's differentiated between the Mahayana and the Hinayana path. The Hinayana path takes refuge for the purpose of self-liberation, The Mahayana path takes on refuge for the purpose of liberation of all sentient beings. So this is the difference of the motivation regarding to taking refuge.
所以呢，在这里我们所说的这个四句皈依，这就是大乘的皈依句。他说，来自菩提果这一句，它是主要提到的什么呢？主要是提到的是时间。为什么提到的是时间呢？它时间就是说，从现在开始，我证悟菩提之间我皈依，而不是说像小乘一样，我现在皈依到就是命中。就是今生一生当中我皈依，或者我斩断的皈依，不是这样的，而是来自菩提果，直到我成佛，我皈依三宝。这个就是这一句，主要就是提出了这个时间大乘的皈依的话，它的时间是这样，来自菩提果。
So here the four phrases that we mentioned. So here it says that I go for refuge to the Buddha as far as the quintessence of enlightenment. So this means that the time duration of the refuge itself, that from now until enlightenment of Buddhahood, this is the these phrases is the taking refuge of the Mahayana motivation. So and which is different from the Hinayana path, in which that some may take refuge until this life ends or for a shorter duration of time. So here is different. This is that the time duration is from till now until our own until we achieve enlightenment. So here this phrase points out the time of taking refuge.
第二个呢，它指的是什么呢？指的是对境。那么皈依的对境是什么呢？皈依诸佛陀，一一正法宝菩萨。就诸圣众所以呢，这里就是讲了三宝。那皈依的对境是什么呢？对就是诸佛陀，就是所有的佛陀十方三世的所有的佛陀，以及正法就是佛所传的所有的正法宝。然后呢，僧众是什么呢？这里的僧众是不是我们一般认为的就是僧团的那个僧众。大乘的皈依的时候，我们皈依的僧众就是菩萨们。就像文殊菩萨啦、观音菩萨啦，然后地藏王菩萨等等菩萨圣众是我们三宝里面的就是僧宝所以呢，就是这里讲，主要就是皈依的对境，就是这些佛法僧三宝。
And here, the second phrase in the which is summarized in the English version is the referring as the subject. The subjects we are taking refuge of. Here you can say that you see that it says go for refuge to the Buddha, and as well as refuge to the Dharma and the community of Bodhisattvas. So these are the subjects that we take refuge upon. Again, in terms of the Buddhas including all the Buddhas of the 10 directions as well as the 3 times. And here it says the Dharma, which is the genuine Buddha Dharma. And as well here the difference of the in terms of the Mahayana path, taking refuge of the community of Bodhisattva is not just pertaining to regular sanghas, but really we're taking refuge towards the Bodhisattvas. The Bodhisattvas including Manjushri, Avalokiteshvara, Siddhigarbha, etc. These are the what we refer as the community of these Bodhisattvas we take refuge upon as a sangha. So these are the subjects that which we take refuge upon.
那用方式是什么样的方式来这个皈依呢？就是诚心诚意的一心一意的对这个佛法僧三宝恭敬的，诚心诚意的为一切众生脱离轮回的痛苦而皈依，这就是皈依的方法。
So here the method, how do we take upon the refuge? What is the method? The method we take refuge is with a genuine sense of genuine devotion and with wholeheartedness. For the purpose of benefiting all sentient beings, for them to become all liberated. This is the method that we take upon refuge.
通常我们就是七支供里面是没有皈依的 所以在这个里面的就是七支供，我们就是八支供里面加了这个七支供里面加这个皈依的部分，所以就是一共是八支供，就是积累资粮忏悔业力的部分。然后接下来呢就是总说忏悔罪业之方式总说忏悔罪业之方式那这是什么呢？我与十方佛集聚菩提心，大悲诸圣众，合掌如是白，无事轮回起，此事或他生，无知犯诸罪，或劝他作恶，或因痴所牵，随喜必所为，见此罪过已，对佛诚忏悔。这个呢就是主要是在讲我们要忏悔罪业的方法，就是忏悔的部分。
So here this includes the taking refuge. The seventh branch of our offering usually has does not include refuge usually, but here the refuge is included. So there is 8 branches of offering. And now we continue on the practice of confession itself, as such that is the overall the methods of doing confession, as well as the taking upon the subject of doing confession. And here it reads that, with folded hand, I beseech the fully awakened ones present in all directions and the greatly compassionate Bodhisattva. Whatever sin I as a brute have committed or caused others to commit in this lifetime and others throughout in the beginningless cycle of existence, and anything in which I deluded rejoice, thereby harming myself, that transgression I confess, overcome by remorse.
那我们要忏悔的话呢，就我们最重要的是要具备4对之力。这个4对之力没有具备的话，我们业障是没有办法忏悔清净的。所以呢，我们要具备4对之力来忏悔清净业障。
So here, in order to engage in the practice of confession effectively, the most important things we need to have are the 4 powers, the 4 powers of that we need in order that we can purify our negative karmic obscurations.
那第一个是什么呢？就是厌还对治力4对治里面的第一个是厌还对治力。
So the 4 powers, the first power is the power of regretting having done wrong.
那个厌还对治力是什么意思呢？就是比如说一个人服用了毒药，刚开始他不知道，然后后来发现那个是个毒药，会致命的一个毒药的时候呢，他会对这个服这个毒药的这个动作或者做的这个行为会非常非常的后悔。他说哇，我不应该这样做，就是会非常非常的就是后悔，说我为什么会这个服那个毒药，就是那种的心态。所以呢，对我们所遭的业力要有那样的心态，这是第一个，就厌还对治力。
So here, regarding the first power, the power of having done wrong, this means that, for example, if someone have drank poison, that person didn't know that he drank poison, and once he found out, that person will be really regretted that the action of that he would really regret that he had drank that poison because he didn't know. So it is that kind of attitude that we need to have. We need to have this kind of attitude towards the negative karma that we have committed or the negative obscuration that we have produced.
然后第二个对治力是叫做所依对治力。所依对治力的意思是什么呢？就是我们要依靠比如说一个人生病的时候，他要依靠医生。要依靠医生，然后医生跟他说什么检查身体了怎么样，他就要依靠医生来治疗他的病所以呢，就是所依对治力，就是我们要依靠所依嘛，要依靠金刚萨埵然后这是大部分我们修这个忏悔罪业的时候，就是我们的所依就是金刚萨埵观想金刚萨埵，依靠金刚萨埵 来忏悔业障一样的，我们好像生病的时候，我们必须依靠医生来治疗我们的病这叫做所依对治力，我们要有所依的对境，这个就是第二个对治力，就是所依对治力，要依靠金刚萨埵或者是诸佛菩萨就是三宝的面前来做忏悔，这样。
The second power is the power of support. This means to rely, something to rely on. For example, when someone is sick, that person would rely on the doctor to cure his illness, and whatever the doctor says to check their body, etc., to do tests, then that person will follow. So this really means the sick person, have to rely on a doctor to cure his or her illness. So here, likewise, when we engage in the practice of confession, we need to have a power support or a power or a subject that we need to rely on, such as usually when we engage in the power of the confession, our power support is Bodhisattva. And so thereby, and again, likewise, when we're sick, we need a doctor to help us or to rely on. Likewise, we need to rely on the Bodhisattva or the Buddhas and Bodhisattva or three jewels when we engage in the practice of confession.
然后第三个呢，就是现行对治力。现行对治力是什么呢？我们为了忏悔业障，比如说做大礼拜呀，然后念金刚萨埵白字明念金刚萨埵心咒或者绕塔啦就是等等的这些，就是我们做这些善业的这些过程当中，这叫做现行。为了忏悔业障而做这些事情，叫做现行对治力。举一个例子，就是说一个病人他要治好他的病的话，医生给他了很多的处方，然后呢，他真正的把这些药拿来真正的在服用这些药，在使用这些药的过程当中，他要每天早上吃几粒，中午吃几粒，晚上吃几粒，一天要多少次，这些等等的，他真正的在这个使用这叫做现行对治力。所以我们在忏悔业障的过程当中也是我们每天要，比如说每天不断的念多少遍金刚萨埵白字明，做多少个礼拜等等这叫做现行对治力，为了忏悔业障这样做。
And then the third power is the power of antidote. So this is for the purpose of doing confession. We engage in the different actions, such as different antidotes that we take upon, such as practicing the major prostration, reciting the 100-syllable mantra, the Vajrasattva heart mantra, circumambulating stupa, etc. These positive these actions of positive karma that we engage in for the purpose of doing confession. That is the power of antidote. And this is just like, for example, if a sick person already has a prescription from a doctor, and that person take upon the prescription or the treatment correctly or diligently, such as he really engaged, put himself into taking the medication, such as in the morning, how many pills, lunch, how many pills, and at night, how many pills, or how many times a day, etc., such that this person really puts it into action. So, for example, if engage practice of confession every day, there's a certain number of 100-syllable mantras that we recite in a non-stop fashion, and so as doing different prostrations, etc. So these are referring to as the power of antidote.
那第四个叫做返回对治力。返回对治力呢，就是下决心从今以后，就算遇到我生命的危险，我也不再做这样的恶业就要有这样的决心所以呢，这叫做返回对治力。所以我们在忏悔业障里面，当然这四个对治力每一个都很重要，但是最重要的是返回对治力就是返回对治力，就是说我以前造了这样的罪，以后我再也不做了。这样的一个决心没有的话，忏悔是那个业障没办法完全的清净掉。所以呢，返回对治力是非常非常重要的。
And then the fourth power is the power of resolution. This means that with a strong determination that we vow, or we aspire, or we vow that even if our own lives in danger, that we will not commit such negative karma, or just such negativity again. This is really the most important one out of the 4 powers. Of course, all the 4 powers are important, but this is probably the most important, because without having the power of resolution, our negative karma, our negative obscurations cannot be purified completely.
所以呢，然后第二个最重要的是什么呢？第二个最重要的是这里我们所说的，现行对治力。我们就是要依靠，比如说我们要治病的时候，我们必须要吃药嘛。如果是没有吃药的话，你看了医生，捡了药，你没有吃，完全帮不了你。所以呢，我们必须要吃药，要服药，然后呢，真的才可以治病所以呢，但是呢，我们吃药了好了，然后你再去喝毒药，有用吗？没有用所以呢，就是吃药跟以后再不吃毒药，这2个是非常重要的。
And the second most important is the power of antidote. This is just like when we need to, when we are sick, and once we have seen the doctor, we have got their prescription, but yet if you don't take the medication, then it's really useful. It's really useless. So really, if you want to be cured, then you have to take on the medication. Okay, you have to take on the antidotes. And also, even if you're cured, and then if you drink poison again, then it's really pointless. So here, to mention that to take medication and never drink poison again, these 2 things are very, very important.
所以呢，在这里以医生跟病人的例子来讲了这个4个对治力。其实真正来说，我们就是跟这个是完全一样的。众生的病就是烦恼，我们的烦恼5毒就是我们的病然后呢，要对治5毒烦恼的这个医生就是诸佛菩萨们然后菩萨们给我们的药方就是我们修行的方法所以呢，依靠这些，我们也来忏悔业障，我们来遣除心里所造的，因为5毒所造的一切业障就是这样的。
Here, we have used the metaphor of doctors and patients to referring as the 4 powers, but this is really fundamentally the same, because our sentient beings' illness are really our mental afflictions and our 5 poisons, and then the doctors that are going to help us to cure these illnesses are the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And then the medication in which they have given us are all these methods to engage in practice. So by having these methods, by understanding these methods, we can use them to eliminate all these illness or these negative karmic obscurations in our mind stream that we are committed due to our 5 poisons.
所以在这里说，我与十方佛十方就是四面八方上下一共10方安住的一切诸佛菩萨，具有菩提心的这些大慈大悲的圣众前呢，双手合掌，如是的就是坦白，我从轮回无始以来就在因为无明无知这样的情况下呢自己所犯的一切罪过，或者是劝他人造作的一切罪过或者是随喜他人造作罪业的这一切罪过我就是打自内心的发露忏悔向诸佛菩萨面前呢一切忏悔是这样。
So that's why here it says that with the folded hand, I beseech the fully awakened ones present in all directions. The all direction referring as the 10 directions. And then the greatly compassionate bodhisattvas, that whatever sin I as a group have committed or caused others to commit in this life and others throughout the beginning of the cycle of existence, and anything in which I have deliberately rejoiced, thereby harming myself, that transgression I confess overcome by remorse.
这个是什么呢？这个就是我们所说的四对治力里面的，我们现在是在认知我服了毒药所以呢我要忏悔，这里是在认知，就是第一个在讲第一个这个对治力然后接下来什么呢？以殊胜对境而忏悔特殊罪业之方式或摧身语意，与三宝父母师长或于人造作诸伤害因悉犯重过今臣有罪人，一切然恕罪，佛前悉忏悔这里呢就是在个别的指出在我的身语意所造的一切业力，比如说就是三宝和父母。为什么说三宝和父母呢？因为这是三宝跟父母是对于我们来说是这个对境是很严重的对境。为什么叫做很严重的对境呢？因为三宝跟父母是我们对他们做一点点的好事的功德也是很大，但是呢我们做一点点的坏事，他的罪业也是很严重的。所以首先这里就一一的认知说，首先对三宝我的身口意所造的一切业力，以及对父母亲这就是我的身口意所造的一切业力然后呢师长于人，就是说我们的师长比自己的修行好的金刚师兄弟，或者自己的上师老师等等的于人造作诸伤害就是对他们所做的伤害，我们心里产生的对他们的邪知邪见或是伤害也好然后呢口头上所做的伤害也好，然后行为上所做的伤害也好这些全部都我今天要忏悔这样。
So here reads that the first one, the first part is referring as the power of regretting having done wrong, and then it continues that whatever offense I have committed out of disrespect with my body, speech, and mind against the three jewels, against the mother and fathers, and against spiritual mentors and others, and whatever terrible vices I, a sinner defiled with many faults, have done, O God, I confess them all. So here, this really begins to point out the individual karmic obscuration that we have committed in our body, speech, and mind. So why does it say mention the three jewels and as well as our parents, our mothers and fathers? That's because they are really serious subjects in which our actions have committed will have effect upon. It means that even we commit the smallest positive or negative deeds, it will have a great effect upon them if the subjects are the three jewels and our parents. So if it's really a small positive deed, it will bring great positive karmic results. If it's small negative actions, then that will bring great negative karmic obscurations. So here, this is why it points out the three jewels as well as the mothers and fathers. And here it also points out these spiritual mentors and others, such as these our Dharma friends, as well as our guru, and then as well as anyone else. And so here it says point out that whatever terrible vices, such as all the false wrong views in our mind that we have committed, in our speech or our actions that cause harm, is reads that whatever terrible vices I, a sinner, defile with many faults, have done, O guides, I confess them all.
因悉犯重罪，因为就是过去我犯了重大的罪过，所以呢，今天成为了一个罪人。所以这些罪过呢，你的对境如果是三宝、上师、父母的话，那个罪过是很严重的。所以呢，一切然恕罪，就是这个罪是非常严重的这个罪过了。我今天要在佛前就是诚心诚意的一心一意的向诸佛菩萨面前呢，我忏悔这些罪过这样。然后上面我们讲了就是随喜必所为就是我们通常说随喜他人的功德，你也可以得到同样的功德，但是你随喜他人的过患， 你也有同样的罪过，所以呢，我们也要忏悔的时候也要忏悔。比如说别人做了什么坏事的话，我们去随喜的话，这也是有罪过的。所以这里在忏悔。这以上呢，主要就是讲的我们四对治里面的厌烦对治力这样。
So here says, I, a sinner, defiled with many faults. This sinner with many faults because the crime, the negative karmic obscuration we have committed are really serious if our subjects are towards the three jewels and our own parents. So here that we says that, I confess them all. And here it also in the earlier phrases it mentioned here in anything which I have deludedly rejoice. Deluded rejoice means that we know that if we rejoice in the positive action of others, we are able to receive the same type of karmic effect. This is likewise the same. If we rejoice someone else's negative action, then we will have to endure the negative effect of that as well. So here, this is why we confess in that as well.
接下来呢是所依对治力。那所依对治力呢分了略说和广说。首先是略说。罪业未尽前，勿生或先亡。云何脱此罪？脱此罪，故其速救护。这里是在祈祷，因为我们还没有亲近这个罪业之前，如果是身亡的话，那会怎么样呢？那就是直接会下地狱、恶鬼、旁生道要去承受这个罪业的这个果报所以呢，这是在还没有身亡之前呢，我祈求诸佛菩萨来很快的救护我我要在你们的面前呢忏悔这些一切罪过这样。
So that was the phrases that we mentioned are the power, referring to the power of having regret done wrong. And now we are beginning the power support. And here it reads that, how shall I escape it? Rescue me quickly. May death not soon creep up on me before my vices have vanished. So here it says that really to pray towards the three jewels, that because here, in terms of our lives, if we have not yet completely purified all the negativities or the karmic obscurations before our life ends, then after this life, we have to endure the negative effect, the effect of enduring suffering in the hell realms, and etc. So here, this is kind of the pray that we hope for.
所以在这里说是，鼓起速救护，就是很快的，要快速的来救护我。为什么要很快速的救护我呢？因为这里下面就说，死神不助信，不待罪尽否，无论病未病，受赞不可视。为什么要很迅速的、很快的要去清净罪业呢？因为死神不可信死神是什么时候到，我们永远不知道。他也不管你的罪业，你有忏悔清净，或是没有忏悔清净；他也不管你要想做的事情做完了，或是没有做完；或者他也不管你的有病或是没有病总之，他要来的时候，他出现的时候，他就会出现所以呢，当死神是不可信的，我们任何人都不知道死亡什么时候会到来。所以呢，当死亡还没有到来之前，就要很迅速的、很快速的清净业障。如果是死神还没有到之前，没有快速的这个清净业障的话，当有一天我们没有任何的准备的情况下，如果死神到了，那我怎么办所以呢，这里就说为什么要很迅速的来救护我们，来清净业障呢？因为死神不可信这样。
So here it says, rescue me quickly. Why do we say that? Why do we say rescue me quickly and basically ask for protection? Because we don't know when death will come. it reads that in the next phrase that death does not differentiate between tasks done and undone. This traitor is not to be trusted by the healthy or the ill, for it is like an unexpected great thunderbolt. So here, because we ask to be rescued quickly, because we don't know when death will come. And death is something that's untrustworthy. It doesn't care what stage of your life and whether you're done with things or not, and whether you're sick or not, etc. Basically, when it comes, when it wants to come, it will come. So we really don't know when the death arrives. So thereby, we really need to try to purify all the karmic obscurations in ourselves before the death arrives, and such that we really have to be prepared. Because if we're not prepared and then the death comes, then what are we going to do? There's nothing to be done anymore. So thereby, we ask for to be rescued quickly, because death itself is something untrustworthy.
所以这里有一个很重要的一个重点哈，这里说无论病未病，就说我们很多时候我们以为我没有生病，我身体很健康，所以不会死，不一定的，我们完全没有办法决定说因为一个人没有病他就不会死。我们可以看到很多很多人看起来很健康的就是突然死亡的很多。然后我们也没有办法决定说这个人还年轻还不会死，完全没有办法，因为我们看到很多人身边年轻的人就是突然死亡的很多。然后呢，我们有在这个生活当中，我们看到这些就是周围的这些的这个无常的到来的时候呢，我们很多人还在等，说以为这可能是周围的人这样而已，我可能还不会那样，所以这些全部都是一个错误的一个认知所以在这里就是一再强调什么呢？在强调就是一切都无常所以你要做好准备，你要做好来世的准备，因为我们一个人为了今生我们的生活要准备多少，为了养老要准备多少，那为什么不准备来世的呢？因为来世是更长远的一个事情所以呢，在这里一直在强调这些。所以当我们观无常的时候，最好的一个方法就是我们首先知道我一定会死，常常要提醒自己我一定会死这是一定的。当我们生下来的时候已经注定你会死，这个是没有办法逃避的，不管是再有权的人，再有钱的人再有这个名望的人，一样的一定会死的。这是第一个观无常的方式就是这样。第一个是我一定会死就一定要提醒自己第二个是什么呢？什么时候死我完全不知道，这是第二个重点如果你知道你什么时候死的话，那你还可以做一些准备，但是你完全没有办法抉择说我什么时候会死，这是第二点。这是我们观无常的重点。第一个是一定会死，第二个是什么时候死完全不知道，第三个死的时候唯一对我有好处的是什么？你要想唯一对你有好处的就是佛法这三个常常提醒自己就说第一个我一定会死，第二个什么时候死我完全不知道，第三个我死的时候唯一对我有帮助的是什么？是佛法这三个是很重要的。
So here there's something that's very important that we need to keep our mind to, that no matter whether or not we are sick or not, many times we have this idea that we're still healthy, so we're not going to die. But how can you say that? That really depends. We cannot say that if someone, just because someone is healthy, then that person will not going to die right away. We have seen many of these people around us, they are healthy, and all of a sudden they have just passed away. We cannot also say that this person is still young, that person, so thereby he or she will not die. That is not true too, because we have seen young people die already in our lives, and so we also have really seen all these impermanence occurring around us, and we kept thinking and waiting, thinking, it's just them, that will not happen to us. but that's really not true. To think that will not happen to ourselves, that is not true. These are all the wrong understanding. So here, this part really continues to emphasize that everything's impermanent, and we really have to be prepared. We have to be preparing for our next life, because we have prepared so much in this life for ourselves already, such as we prepare ourselves when we are getting old, etc. So why don't we prepare for our next life? So thereby, when we engage in the practice of impermanence, the best way is to really constantly remind ourselves that we will definitely die. This is something that will definitely occur once we are born, because when we are born, we will definitely die. It's something unescapable. Whether you're rich, no matter how rich you are, how famous you are, in the end, we'll definitely die. This is the first thing that we need to remind ourselves. The second thing is that we don't know when we'll die. If we do know that when we will die or pass away, then we can somewhat prepare for that. But in reality, we really don't know when we will die at all. So these are all the key points that we need to remind ourselves when we practice impermanence. The third thing is that we need to really understand or recognize that when we die, what is the only thing that will be do any good for me? The only good thing that will do for us is the Buddha Dharma. That's the only thing that will help us when we die, the Buddha Dharma. So we really need to always constantly remind ourselves of these things that engage in a practice, such as, again, to summarize, the first is that we will definitely die. Second is we don't know when we're going to die. And then the third thing is that when we die, the only thing that will help us is the Buddha Dharma. These are very, very important points.
然后接下来是因物不了之，此时舍一切，故为亲与仇，造种种罪业。这一句主要是在讲什么呢？主要是在讲，因为我们平时不观想或是不修无常，以为自己的生命很长，这是一点。然后另外一个呢，我们完全不知道我们死了以后我们可以带去的东西是什么，完全不知道。我们也不知道死了之后什么东西会跟随我们，我们完全不知道。所以呢，这里在讲就是说，死时舍一切。死的时候呢，就是一切都舍了。你今生的在今生的所有的亲人、你的朋友、你的名誉、你的地位、你的财产，全部舍，一切都舍了，一分都带不走。那唯一可以带得走的是什么呢？业力。如果是你今生造的善业，那个时候你跟随你的；你今生造的恶业也会跟随你。唯一跟你带走的就是业力。除此之外，所有的东西，一切的一切，全部完全带不走。好，那这样的情况下呢，我们应该怎么办呢？就是故为亲与仇。那我们今生就是为了自己的亲人，就是这个升起种种的贪心。所谓的贪心，就是为了他们好，为了这样，然后就是做种种，这造很多很多不一样的业力。然后为了仇人就是升起嗔恨心，又造很多很多的业力。那这个有意义吗？完全没有意义，因为你走了以后，业力会跟你走，这些亲人也不会跟你走，仇人也不会跟你走，所以这些都不会跟你走，最后跟你走的是什么呢？就是你的业力。所以呢，在今生我们因为亲仇种下了种种的业力。那有些人觉得说，只有仇人我才会造业力，因为有仇恨，亲人不会也会的。我们为了亲人的有些时候为了亲人，我们心里、身体上、言行上同样的会造很多的业力。所以这个也是我们要好好的就是观察自己的。有时候为了亲人的好就是别人说一点点亲人的不好，我们心里马上升起嗔恨心。然后有些人说你的亲人不好一点，你马上就回复去骂别人，你说我的亲人不好。或者是有人比如说伤害你的亲人一点点，你马上去报仇。这些都是因为亲人而造下的罪业 哎呀等等的啊，就是仇人就不用讲了，就是因为你仇恨他，你的仇人，你的身与意，你都常常会造业力，所以呢，那值得吗？完全不值得啊！所以呢，在这里讲的是第二个重点，就是这个。
And here reads that I have committed various vices for the sake of friends and enemies. This I have not recognized, leaving everyone behind. I must pass away. So here it says that because we lack the practice of impermanence, or such that we don't recognize or we don't know that when we die, what is it that we can bring? And we don't know that what is it that will follow us when we die as well. So here it says that once we have died, once we have passed away, we have to leave everything behind. This includes our families, loved ones, reputation, wealth, and everything. All these things are left behind. And the only things that will carry on with us are our karma. If it's whether it's positive or negative, they will always follow us. So other than karma, there's really nothing else that can be brought with us when we die. So this is here was really have this is the understanding that we need to have here. And in terms of our loved ones, by understanding this, for our loved one, we have developed all these desires that for their own benefits, we may have committed different kinds of karmic obscurations. And then, of course, also our enemies. Because of our enemies, because due to our anger or hatred, we have also committed various negative obscurations. But really, to observe on that, do these any of these are any of these things meaningful when we die? No, because these things, the loved ones or enemies, they will not follow you when you die. The only thing that will follow you is your own karma, your karmic obscuration that you have committed because of your loved ones and enemies. Some people may say, "Oh, only my enemies will cause negative karma for me," but that's not true. Sometimes, because of our loved ones, we may have also will commit different types of karmic obscurations in terms of our mind, speech, and body. Sometimes, for example, when someone says bad things about our loved ones, we will curse them back. Or sometimes, if they harm our loved ones a little bit, we would attempt to retaliate. So this is what we're referring to for our loved ones, not to mention more of our enemies. So here, when we observe it, is it really worth it at all to commit all these karmic obscuration for our loved ones and towards our enemies? It's really not worth it because they will not follow us. Only our karma will follow us.
所以呢，就是为了我们的亲人以及冤敌啊，今生也造了种种的罪业啊，这些都是要在诸菩萨面前来忏悔。啊，下面就说仇敌无化虚无，诸亲已湮灭啊，物生彼死亡，一切终归无啊。所以当死亡的时候，我们的所谓的仇人也没有了，我们的亲人也没有了，连自己的身体都没有了，最后呢，归功于就是归于零了，什么都没有了。那为什么我们还要为了这些造很多的业力呢？就是没有必要就是没有意义为亲人为仇敌就是造很多的业力，这是没有必要的。
So here reads that my enemies will not remain, nor will my friends remain. I shall not remain, nothing will remain. So here it says that when death comes, there are no loved ones that will remain, no enemies that remain, not even our own body will remain. Everything will cease to existence. So what is the point? Why do we need to commit all these negative or these karmic obscurations?
人生如梦幻，无论何事物，受已成念尽，往事不再浮那比如说我们的人的这个生命就好像一个梦境一样的，梦幻一样的昨天晚上我们所做的梦，今天看来只是可以就是回忆一下而已。我们现在看也看不着，摸也摸不着，感受也感受不到，所以我们人生也是一样的，悲欢喜乐都是一样的，过去的事情再也不会重复了。 所以呢，我们在人生的这个过程当中，就是把这个生命就看成一个虚幻的就可以了，不要对生命太真实、太执着啊。如果我们对生命看得太真实、太执着的时候，我们就会造很多很多的业力。当你把一个人生看成一个虚幻的、不真实的时候，我们会减少造很多很多的业力啊。所以在这里主要就是讲这一句的意思就是这个啊，主要就是不要把人生看得太真实了，这个不是真实的。我们所面对的这些一切的一切都是虚幻的，就像如彩虹一般的，没有一个真实的东西在那里，只是我们去执着。当我们执着的时候呢，我们执着的越深，那就好像外面的东西会越真实，那越真实，我们造的业力就会越多啊，是这样。所以呢，我们当把生命看得越不真实、越假的时候，那你就造的业的机会越少，你对这个今生的执着也会越减轻。那对生命的执着越减轻的时候，的意思是什么？那意思就是说你的出离心就在增长，因为你对世间没有执着嘛，对世间没有执着就是出离心呢。如果说我们对这个世间认识的很真实，一切都觉得这是真实的，那我们就越执着啊。对世间执着就是没有出离心嘛，啊，就是这样。
And so here it reads that whatever is experienced will fade to a memory, like an experience in a dream. Everything that has passed will not be seen again. So here this points out that a human life is like a dream. The dream that we had last night, that today can only be recalled, and nothing else. We cannot touch it or see it. This is really the same as our human lives. Everything will pass. Everything will pass. We need to really understand that life is something illusory. If we take our life as something that's too real or something that's real, then we will be committing more karmic obscurations. However, if we can look at our life as something illusory, we'll understand that our life is illusory, then we'll be able to commit less karmic obscuration. So here, the point is really understand that our life is really illusory. It's like illusion. It is like a rainbow. But because of our own attachment, as the deeper we are attached to our lives, the more real it will appear. Thus, we'll be committing more karmic obscurations. So if we are able to really understand or recognize that this life is something illusory, then we will have less attachment, and thus we'll be committing less karmic obscuration. And this really means that your renunciation will continue to enhance, because renunciation means that you have become able to have less attachment to this mundane world. So by having less attachment is the meaning of renunciation.
在我们的生命当中，我们要24小时正知正念的要将自己就是停留在这样的一个境界，一个世间人、世俗人是没有办法做到的。但是呢，至少我们偶尔提醒自己，这些一切都是幻象，这些一切都不是真实的这样不要对这个世间太执着的话，这个也对我们的修行，对我们的生命都会有很大的帮助也可以减轻很多很多我们生命当中的痛苦。有些时候我们在这个人生当中会遇到很多的痛苦，很多的困难。当这样的时候，静下心来，把这些看待成一切是虚幻的，如幻如梦的。我们真的是你在那个当下可以自己感受到你心里的那种痛，可以马上就减轻了。这个是我们可以自己去经验、自己去体验的。那我们作为一个佛教徒，作为一个修行人，我们只是学习，然后听了，然后自己没有去体验的时候呢，对我们没有帮助。当我们自己真正去体验的时候，这才是真正的有帮助。就是之前我们讲的，你没有服药，没有去吃药的话，我们的病不会好。我们不吃饭的话，肚子不会饱所以我们必须要吃饭，肚子才会饱。我们要服药，病才会好。所以我们在这里修的时候，这里讲的这些东西，我们真正的要去做这样对我们才有帮助。所以我们在座的所有的人，我相信每一个人一定 曾经或是将来都会有一些痛苦烦恼会发生，已经发生过或是会发生的。当这样的时候，自己真正的去体验一下，自己去这样去做一下，看有没有帮助。当你有去体验的时候，去做的时候，当你有帮助的时候，你的信心会越来越增强。当你的信心越增强的时候，你会做的更多。你做的更多的时候，你的信心再增强，然后你会做的更多。修行的进步就是这样来的。
In our lives, if we are trying to be mindful of this to 24 hours and every day in our life to remain in this state of recognizing life as illusory is something that's difficult for a mundane person. But however, if we are able to occasionally remind us that this life is illusory, is an illusion, then this will be really beneficial to our lives and to ourselves. And we are able to reduce many of these sufferings in our life. Because in our lives, we may encounter many type of sufferings and difficulties. If you are able to, at those times, to really calm yourself, calm your mind down, and recognize that our life is just nothing but an illusion, then at that moment, you can reduce your suffering. This is something that you can truly, genuinely experience for yourself. As a Buddhist practitioner, if we learn and understand the teaching, but we don't apply or experience what these teachings are, then it's not really helpful for us. Once we have experienced these teachings, then it'd be really beneficial for us. And this is just like the example we mentioned that if we don't take the medication, then it would not be helpful for us at all. Likewise, if we don't eat any fruit, we wouldn't be full at all as well. So here, we really need to have just really able to take this point into mind, or they take this teaching in our own mind, because I'm sure all of you, whether in the past or in the future, you will be encountering some kind of difficulty. So if you're able to truly apply this in your life, then and see if it's helpful, then and once you have done so, they will be really beneficial. And it's very also important because for you to apply, because once you apply it and you have experience, you will have more confidence or faith in this, and you will continue to do more. And then your path will progress. You will be taking on then your Buddhist path will progress and be carried to the next level.
所以呢，我们这里说人生如梦幻，也就是人生就没有什么真实的存在，就如幻如梦一般的这样。父慈与此生亲仇半已逝，造罪苦果报点滴后在前。所以呢，就是再次的说，我们不要为了亲人以及冤敌仇人呢，就是不要再造业了，因为这些亲人或者是那个仇敌都一样的，他们有些你今生过了1、2年、2、3年，你的亲戚或是朋友，有些或是今生就离开你，有些呢就是因为死亡而离开你就是身边的人也是这样的，亲人也是这样的，仇人也是一样的，有些是就是因为有环境或是距离会离开你，有些呢会是死亡无常到来而离开你，所以不用对这些做任何的事情所以呢，当我们这个罪业如果是你造了罪业的话，这个就一点一滴都不会离开你这个罪业的这个业力是时常在跟随在我们面前，当你死亡的时候，它就在那里等着你点滴后在前，全部都在你的前面等着我们所以呢，就是为了亲人也好，为了朋友也好，为了冤敌仇人也好最好就是不要造任何业力，这个没有什么必要。我们人生短暂，在这个短短的几十年就是没有什么真实的存在，所以呢，就是不要造业还是这样意思。
So here it reads, even in this life, as I have stood by, many friends and enemies have passed away, but terrible sin induced by them remains ahead of me. Here it says again that we need to remind ourselves really not to commit any of the negative karmic obscurations towards our loved ones as well as enemies, because there's really no point, because your families or your loved ones will leave you. whether it's due to death or other type of conditions. And likewise, your enemies, sometimes because of environment or distance or their own death, they will leave you as well. So we really you don't need to do anything of negative towards them, or you don't really need to commit negative obscurations or anything towards them, because there's really no point. However, of course, once you did commit any of negative karma, then these things will not leave you. They will stay with you, and they'll be ready for you when you die. So again, we need to really remind ourselves to not to engage or commit any of the karmic obscurations toward our or engage in any negative karma towards our loved ones or our enemies, because there's really no point to commit these things, because again, our human life is nothing that truly exists.
因无不胜解，命中如是咒，故起贪嗔痴，造作诸恶业。所以呢，在这里说，因为我没有意识到这个死亡是那么的突然，所以呢，到这个因为自己的贪嗔痴慢疑等等就是造作了很多可怕的这个业力所以呢，这些可怕的业力的话，我现在要及时迅速的去忏悔清净。如果是没有忏悔清净的话，死了以后，那这个罪业这个果报就是很可怕，所以呢，必须就是很这个快速的在诸佛菩萨面前就是忏悔这样。
So here it reads that, thus I have not considered that I am ephemeral. Due to delusion, hate, attachment, and hatred, I have sinned in many ways. So here, since we do not recognize our death can be so sudden, because of our delusion, attachment, hatred, and our 5 poisons that, such as arrogance and doubt, etc. If we don't purify these negative karmic obscurations, then the effect of these things will be very scary. So thus, we need to confess quickly.
昼夜不暂留此生恒衰灭，额外无复增，物命岂不死，岂不亡？所以在这里说，我们的这个生命就是每一分每一秒它都没有停留。没有停留的意思是什么呢？一直在减少，一直在减少。那虽然在减少，那会不会有增加的一方面呢？是完全没有的，只有减少的部分，完全没有增加的部分。所以在这样的一个情况下，你还会相信还不死吗？就是这个意思。你有什么理由相信不会死？就是没有理由了，完全找不到任何的理由。你说我还不会死？就好像一个瓶子里面装满了水，然后你一滴一滴的往下滴，然后上面没有办法再掺，没有任何的水再加进去的时候，这个一定一滴一滴这样流下去，一定会滴完嘛？因为没有任何的这水再加入一样的，我们的生命也是一样的生命就是一直不断的就是每一分每一秒在减少。比如说一天24小时，从早上开始，那每一分每一秒。任何人都没有办法停留这个时间嘛，它就一直在动，早上到晚上这个时间一直在减少所以生命就是这样的，跟这个早上到晚上这完全一样的。我们从早上9点钟到现在，我们的生命已经减少了快2个小时了，就是这样的所以呢，为什么还要期待说不死亡呢？就是不会的。所以呢，对定死无疑我们一定会死，这是完全毫无意义的，毫无疑问的毫无疑问的，一定会死的所以之前我讲的就是说，我们讲了3点里面还再加一点，就是说一定会死就什么时候死不知道，然后生命是没有办法增加的，它一直在减少的就是这里讲的，就是一直在减少这些就很重要，这些就可以激发我们对于观修无常的一些观念。
Your day and night lifespan unceasingly diminishes. There's no adding on to it. Shall I not die then? So here, our lives, every moment and every second have not stopped. It means it's continuing to, and this means that it's continuing to reduce, to be reduced. And then we need to see that although it's being reduced, will it ever be increased or enhanced? No, there is no increase or enhancing, because then if there's really only reducing and no enhancing, then at this point, how can you believe that you will not die? There's no reason for you that you think that you will not die. This is just like water dripping out, and then if you don't add any more water, the water will cease dripping, and then once it's ceased dripping, then it is done, it is finished. This goes the same for our lives as well. Our lives are really decreasing moment by moment. No one can really stop that. No one can really stop time, just like our days, starting from the morning until night, the time will go on. It will be reducing from the morning until night. Just like our daily life, just like today, from at 9 a.m. until now, we have reduced about 2 hours of our lives already. So what is it that you can expect or think that you will not die? So thereby we need to really understand that we will definitely die. There's really no questions about that. So in addition to the 3 points that we mentioned regarding death and impermanence, when you want to add one more, such that our life will not be enhancing or not increase, it will be only continue to reduce. So this is something that we need to able to contemplate about, so that we can enhance our practice of impermanence.
所以呢，在这里主要是讲无常的部分。我们平时观无常是非常重要的。以前的高宗大德们，他们举的例子就是，我们骑马的时候，你要跑得快的话，就是那个马鞭一样的。那你要修行修得快，修得好，那就是马鞭一样的，就是无常，观无常。那当你观了无常的时候，那你的修行就又会快速的修，然后呢，又有很大的进展，这样。所以就像我们平时常常观这个无常，就像马鞭一样的，就有了这个马鞭，你就是这个马就会跑得更快啊，我们的修行也就修得更快更好，你不会浪费时间，所以你就会好好的这个专注在修行上面啊。所以呢，我们这个一个是出离心、菩提心、无常，这些都是任何时候都很重要的。
Our practice of impermanence is something very important. The great masters have told us before that when we ride horses, in order for the horse to run fast, we need a horse whip. So if we want to practice well, then we need to practice impermanence. The impermanence is just like the whip. That if we use the whip or practice impermanence, our path of practice will be faster and it will progress as well. So that means you wouldn't waste time, and you really you have more focus or more attention to your own practice. So thereby again, our one practitioner's renunciation, bodhicitta, and the practice of impermanence are something that's very important at all times or any times.
所以呢，我们修这个无常的观念，这是非常重要的。如果我们不知道这个无常，不修无常的话，永远都觉得我还有明天。当真正的没有明天的时候，再突然觉悟说，哇，我现在已经死了，然后自己不敢相信，然后就沮丧，然后就一团乱这样的话，我们作为一个修行人就很糟糕了所以呢，常常观修无常自己所有该做的该修的都准备好的时候，当无常到来的时候自己知道我知道这个是会来的所以一切都准备好了 ，Let's go， 就这样。
So the practice of impermanence is something very important, because if we don't practice impermanence, then we will always think there is tomorrow. But however, if we continue this way, and once there's a day there will be no more tomorrow, and then once we die, we'll be really depressed, and because we have lack of any preparation, it will become a mess. This is really terrible for a practitioner. And however, if you're able to be all prepared Once you are prepared, you are ready for what's to come. And once the death or impermanence come, then you'll be like, oh, this is expected. I am ready, and now I'm ready to go. So let's go.
有些时候，我们有些人认为说，观修无常的话，可能会很沮丧啊，然后就是这个观修轮回的痛苦也会很沮丧啊，等等的，有人会这样想。但是呢，是没有错。如果你的观修无常的方法跟观修这个轮回痛苦的方法错的话，人会很沮丧，然后就像是什么都不想做。但是呢，如果说我们不观修无常跟轮回的痛苦的话，我们这个可以逃避吗？我们躲得过吗？躲不过。所以躲不过的话，那怎么办呢？我们就按照他的方法去面对它。当去面对的时候呢，然后你才以面对的方式去战胜它，这才是方法嘛。如果是我们一方面又躲不过，然后一方面又不愿意面对，那这个就是自己就一直就苦下去，再没有别的路可以走所以呢，我们在观修无常的时候，首先就是以恐惧的这个心态去面对这个无常，然后慢慢的时候呢，就是有从恐惧这个转换到能够接受最后呢，从接受到不怕就是这样慢慢的转换。轮回的痛苦也是这样，首先是恐惧轮回的痛苦，好，第二个呢，就是接下来就是接受轮回的痛苦，最后呢就是完全不怕轮回的痛苦，因为你修行的最高的时候，你根本不会面对这些事情的所以要这样来而已。如果说我们说这个很恐怖，我就一直逃避，如果是这些都我们是可以逃得脱的，可以躲避的一个事情的话，那当然好大家都可以逃避这个事情。但是所有的人类，一切的众生，我们所说的轮回的痛苦、死亡是没有任何人可以逃避的，没有任何人可以躲得过的。那既然躲不过、逃不过的话，那你当然要找一个方法去面对就是这样。
Sometimes we may think that by practicing impermanence, this sounds like something that's really depressing, or sometimes if we practice contemplating the suffering of samsara, we may think that's really sad and depressing as well. There are people who think like that. Of course, if you utilize the method in the wrong way of practice, then you will be depressed and you will not want to do anything else. But however, even if you don't engage in such practice, will you be able to escape impermanence? No, you cannot, because this is something that you have to face anyway, this is something that you have to face it. So if you're going to face it anyway, regardless, then why not just overcome it, or why not just try to find a way to overcome it? And because if we cannot escape and we're not willing to face it or do anything about it, then we will just be continuing to suffer. There's really nothing else. So thereby, when we engage in the practice of impermanence, we need to really have a sense of fear towards impermanence first. The sense of fear is the first step. Then from fear to accepting this impermanence, then from accepting it to become fearless. This is how we transform or progress in our path of practice. This applies the same for suffering of samsara. From beginning the fear towards suffering of samsara to accepting this suffering. And then from accepting the suffering to become fearless or not afraid of suffering. Because when you're at the highest point of your path of practice, you will not be afraid of the suffering itself. Of course, if these are the things that you can escape, then that's great. Everybody can be able to run away from it. But however, all human beings, including all the sentient beings, the suffering of death is something that's not escapable by anyone. So thereby, really, if you cannot escape it, then of course, why wouldn't you want to find a way to face it and overcome it?
我也今天就讲到这里，早上的课。
So this concludes the morning session.